have done in order to make sure that there's a higher sense of equity amongst the population. And that includes, by the way, Madam Speaker, getting tougher on...
The honourable member maybe can add to his question, to his answer after the honourable member for Saanich Gulf Islands. Questions and comments?
Thank you, Madam Speaker, and the Honourable Parliamentary Secretary. I appreciated his focus on the question of what former progressive conservative prime ministers and leaders have said about the current state of the Conservative Party. They are obviously two very, very different parties. But what I wanted to focus on was to lament that only in Canada, and it's now in the United States as well, we have a division over how to respond to the climate crisis that falls down upon left-right lines in politics. That's really a shame, and it's not necessary. If you look back, who were the leaders in addressing the climate crisis in the 1980s? Margaret Thatcher. And Margaret Thatcher, no one would suggest Margaret Thatcher was a leftist. The Iron Lady was pretty darn right-wing, but she was trained in science. She was trained in chemistry. She set up the Hadley Centre in England to take on climate change and be serious about it. Brian Mulroney was early leader on climate change globally and still calls on his successors in what still calls itself a Conservative Party to do the right thing and address the climate crisis.
Mr. Secretary.
I appreciate the question, Madam Speaker, and that's the reason why I spent some time emphasizing what progressive conservative leaders have actually talked about in the past in terms of, or I shouldn't say talked about in the past, where they reflecting on today's Conservative Party and where you're starting to see more and more distance. There's a lot of progressive conservatives that are disappointed because at the end of the day, they have completely disregarded that aspect of the progressive conservative heritage. And I think at the end of the day that is not healthy, that we should see all political parties of all stripes should take a look at science and do things to improve our climate, Madam Speaker. But sadly, we have conservatives, real conservatives today, that still deny climate exists, climate change that happens.
Comments? The honourable member St. John Rossi.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, and thank you to my colleague for his wonderful speech today.